This is REROLL, Falling, written by Clinton Campbell, narrated by Mark Williams. Content warning. REROLL is a bleak series with some distressing themes. There are repeated character deaths and violence. There are killers, serial killers, and supervillains that are worse. There are multiple references to what those characters do to their victims. There is a depiction of a suicide attempt. There are non-graphic allusions to childhood trauma. There are non-graphic allusions to sexual assault. Maintaining your mental health is extremely important, and if any of these things are distressing to you, please consider listening to something else. Chapter 1, Part 1. A series of rapid thumps rattled the ceiling, followed by a woman's long, loud moan. Loren cracked his eyes open to stare up at his ceiling in frustration. The upstairs neighbor was having sex. Again. His annoyance quickly turned to alarm as his light bulb flickered on and shattered into a million pieces. He yanked the covers up to cover his face, and after a long moment spent cowering beneath it, he felt safe enough to draw them back down again. "You're fucking kidding me," Loren managed. He tossed the covers off with a rising anger and swung his feet off the bed with a bit too much enthusiasm, near instantly regretting the action as a sharp pain lanced through his foot on contact with the carpet. "Fuck," Loren hissed. Loren bent low to fumble with the small piece of glass sticking out of the sole of his foot before hobbling far enough to click the hallway light on. A spread of shimmers glinted, scattered amongst the carpet by his bed, like the unseen stars outside and above the old ratty building. The two distinct voices upstairs continued to grow louder with every exchange, and he came to realize that they weren't even having sex anymore. Who the hell had the kind of audacity needed to start a screaming argument at 2 o'clock in the morning? "I hate this building," Loren muttered. This building must have had the worst wiring in the city, considering the number of electronics he'd found dead since he first moved in. It was only a light bulb this time, which, while inconvenient, wasn't nearly the worst thing that had broken. The one saving grace was that the rent was cheap, although that was probably because the landlord didn't really do anything to maintain it. It took him a few minutes to find everything he needed to deal with the glass, dumping the mess into his almost full bin and tying the bag shut. He considered leaving it there until later and going back to sleep, but the argument upstairs didn't sound like it would be wrapping up any time soon. Loren picked the bag up and then unlocked his front door. He stepped out into the stairwell that connected every single floor together and glanced upwards. The argument was louder on the landing, and Loren eyed his front door for a long moment, hesitating. With his luck, he'd come back upstairs to find someone sleeping in his bed. Rather than deal with some aspiring Goldilocks trying to claim squatters' rights, he decided to just lock it properly. The lock clicked shut at the same moment that the door upstairs was thrown open, and the noise rose to a peak, echoing down the stairwell. "You're lucky I even came here at all," the man said, raising his voice again. "Don't worry, Emma. This won't happen again. I'll find my own shit next time." The man started down the stairs, catching sight of Loren 3 steps into his stomping descent, and they made eye contact for a long moment. "You're a fucking asshole, Mark," Emma snapped. Mark hissed something dark under his breath as he reached the landing in front of Loren's door. As tired and pissed off as Loren was, he barely managed to hold himself back from going nuclear on the both of them. Mark passed him before continuing down the stairs without a word, and when he vanished from sight, Loren turned his gaze upwards. A short woman with white blonde hair, roughly his age, was standing on the next platform up, and she made a big show of turning to look at him before wincing. The blonde hair made him wary by default, but it was the wrong...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?